also share with the others who are not able to make it. And this is our final Motivation Monday session. And I hope that you've been grabbing little nuggets as we go along. And one of the things I'm going to ask you to do for me, either by WhatsApp or by email, is just share with me one thing that impacted you throughout the 3 sessions that you attended, or if you were only privileged to attend one, then just say, you know, this is what is stuck with me, so that I know that, you know, there was some impact, right? I am a teacher by profession, or in my head at least. I also teach part-time at the University of Belize. And one of the things I always want to know is that learning has taken place, that something stuck in the heads or in the hearts of the people that I am working with. And so after today, I'm just going to ask you to send me a WhatsApp, or you could send me an email and say, you know, this is what stood out to me. I want to apologize. You have had a very busy week, even working through to Saturday. And so I was not able to send the Johari window activity as I had promised, which was the self-awareness activity that I really want you to participate in. All right. Again, before we get started, if there's somebody who you think would benefit from this session, please share the link with them and ask them to join. Remind them that they don't have to turn on their camera. If they're at work, they can just listen in. Thank you. And so today I want to begin with our session. This is our final session. And for me, it's about purpose. It's about passion, igniting that passion. And it's about setting those goals and striving to achieve them. And one of the best ways to do that is to write them down, make them visible, and then have a plan as to how you're going to achieve those goals. And so I stole a few stuff from our time management session, and I see that we have Ms. Burns here who was in our time management session. And so that little caption might be a refresher for you. All right. So I just want to share a little of what I believe and what I've been doing and what works for me. The first thing that I want to share with you is a story from the Bible. And this was when I got this, right? When I got this, for me, this was like, wow, why sit ye here? Why sit ye here? So the story is told of those 4 lepers who were outside of the city gates. And what was happening? 2 things were happening at the time. And one of the things that was happening is that there was a famine. There was a famine in the city and there was a shortage of food, but the gates were locked. The city gates were locked, so they couldn't come out to even look for food. The people within the gates couldn't come out because there was some enemies camped a little away from the city that were, because they were in a time of war. And so 2 things led to the lepers sitting outside the gate, starving to death, because no food was coming out, nothing was going in. The people who were coming in and out of the gate would usually be the ones feeding the lepers. And so here were these 4 lepers sitting down there, literally starving to death. And one day, one of the lepers said to the others, "Why sit we here until we die? Why sit we here until we die?" And they were reasoning to themselves and they were saying, if we sit here, we will surely starve to death. If we decide to get up and go into the enemy camp and surrender, there is a chance that we are going to be welcome. They're going to feed us or they're going to kill us. But if we sit here, we will surely die. There is no option sitting here. And the story in 2 Kings, I think, have it that they got up and they went. And something amazing happened for those 4 lepers, because when they got the courage to get up and maneuver their way to the enemy's camp, they found that the camps were vacated. God had caused the enemies to hear thunder and roaring, and they thought that what was happening was that the people from the city was coming to attack them in full force. And so they fled, leaving everything behind, food and whatever. Think about it. And so the 4 lepers, to their surprise, ate and drank and hid some of the treasures, the gold, whatever they found. And then they spend the night there, and then in the morning they say, yeah, this is not right. We have to go back into the city and let them know that they can come out. We have to let them know that they can come and get food. Why was this story so powerful for me? That one line, why sit we here? Sometimes we look at our situation and we just sit there and say, man, it's difficult. Everything is stacked up against me. It's not going to work. And there are so many things that keep us from getting up. And we just sit there. And so we have to have the courage, like the lepers, to say, why am I sitting here? Why am I sitting here on these bills? Why am I sitting here on my dream? Why am I allowing my talents to die? Why am I sitting here? Why sit here until I die? And I thought that for us, when we're talking about finding our passion, finding our purpose, we have to be like the lepers, and we have to say, it's do or die. And there is no way I can continue to just sit here. Well, for us, it might not be that we're going to die. We might be surviving. It's not as dire as the situation of the lepers. But nonetheless, can we ask ourselves, why sit here? Why just sit here instead of getting up and do something about my circumstances, do something about my situation? Because what was amazing for me about that story was how it ended. The fact that they had the courage to get up and do something about their situation, what they found, what they encountered was something that they did not imagine. They would not imagine. And so I want to encourage you to take some risks. Take the risk. Take the risk in order to reach where you want to reach. Start somewhere, right? But don't sit down. And so if you're sitting on a gold mine, if you're sitting on a dream, if you're sitting on a vision, if you're sitting on a passion, if you're sitting on an idea, remember this story and the whole idea behind it. Why sit here until you die? All right. And so for me, it's time to get up. It's the year that you want to get up. You want to get up and you want to do something about the circumstances like the lepers did. All right. So no more sitting down on our talents. No more sitting down on our purpose. Now, yesterday I was in church and I see a few of my church sisters here, and I had to smile when the pastor brought up this passage, and I was like, wait, he stole my passage, or I stole his passage once. Somebody stole it. But this was something that he taught on yesterday. And for me, this was profound and it was powerful. The fact that we all have gifts. And in our first session, we touched a little on this. And we talked about finding your passion, finding your purpose, and starting by looking at what are those gifts. Now, a lot of people like to say they don't have any gifts. I don't have any gifts. I don't know what my talents are. We're not looking deep enough. We're not looking deep enough. And in our first session, I had urged you to go back to your childhood and the things that you like, the things that you're passionate about. And we want to find that. Now, one of the things that occurred to me was this. We think that our gift have to be something grand and big. We have to think that our gift have to be something exciting. And so I found this clip from Steve Harvey that I'm going to share with you. And he said something that really stood out to me. He said, if you could fry chicken, if you are the best at frying chicken, you should be somewhere frying chicken. And so for me, that was like, yes, this is what it is about. It's about deciding what it is for you and making that work for you. I think about some of the hairdressers I know. And if we were to ask them their story, they will tell you, I start out with my sister here at home. And I plait my sister here because my man never have time. And then I realized I could plait. And so I did do my little neighbor in here. And next thing, one lady asked me for plait here. And then she pay me for plait here. And then and then they tell you of their story, how they use their talent and how they found their gifts. And now they open one whole beauty salon and get some certificate and wow. It started somewhere. It started small. And that's where your dream, your gift, it doesn't have to be anything big, but we like to look at the end product instead of seeing, hey, where did this start? People who are doing barber, right? If you cut your hair, if you take your kids to cut your hair, you could think of the barber who is like what we would call the best barber. And when you ask them how they started, they will tell you, I'm always like cut hair. And I used to cut, and then I used to cut under the mango tree. And then and now I have my barber shop because it grew. It grew when you continue to do it. And there is no secret except that you are consistent. You continue to do it. You just do it, and continue to do it until you perfect it, until people start paying you to do it. And then they start paying you more to do it. And then you realize, wow, I could do this all along. But you had to start somewhere. So I want to share this short clip from Steve Harvey with you that I found very impactful. And so I want you to listen.
Your gift will make room for you. Now, what is your gift? It's the thing that you do the absolute best with the least amount of effort. That's your gift. Quit running away from the gift. Your gift will make room for you. Stop trying to be something you ain't gifted at. Nobody asked you to go down here and study to be a dentist, and you ain't really good at that. Quit going down to the church trying to sing. You can't sing. Now, just because they let you sing at the church, you're not finna, anybody else finna go with this. Because, come as you are, the Lord loveth a cheerful giver, all that. We don't apply scriptures out here. You come to the Apollo and you can't sing, we got something for your ass up there. Period. Listen to me. All of you have this gift. Identify it. It's the thing that you do the absolute best with the least amount of effort. That's what you should be doing. You're wasting your time pursuing your passion. The Bible does not mention passion. It mentions your gift. What are you gifted at, and do that. Stop tripping. You can do that. If you fry chicken better than everybody you know, you ought to be somewhere frying chicken. People make millions of dollars frying chicken. Popeyes, Kentucky Fried Chicken, El Pollo Loco. All they doing is making chicken. They just found a way to do it. Somebody just started making chicken. You know the story of Marie Callender's? Do you know what this woman did, man? She worked for a diner, a greasy spoon diner that was going out of business. It was her only job. She was a single mother. It was her only job. She needed that job, but the diner was going to close. So she went to the owner of the diner and said, let me bake one of my pies. People like my pies, and see if I can help you make a little money. He said, whatever, bring it in. She bought one pie in. They sold every slice. The next day, the people came in and asked for the pie. She had to go home and make another pie. The next day, so many people asked for the pie, she had to make 4 pies. Then people started saying, can I buy my own pie? She made so many pies at this store that she eventually saved her money and put a commercial oven in her house. Now, she done made so many pies, the dude's shop, he ain't selling hamburgers no more. All he's selling is them damn pies. That's how Marie Callender got started. Marie Callender now has over 120 restaurants. You can't go to no frozen food section without seeing Marie Callender in there. You know what she started with? A pie. One.
Your gifts will make room for you. By now, all of us should have been able to identify our gifts, that one thing that we're good at, and start asking ourselves, how can my gifts make room for me? What can I do with this gift? The question is, are you prepared to start small? Are you prepared to start somewhere and then make your way up? Right? Start somewhere, start small. Nobody's saying quit your day job, right? But is there that little thing that you can do on the side, right? Another scripture from the Bible tells you not to do one thing, not to do one thing. And we have a tendency to like to do that here. We put all of our eggs in one basket. So keep your day job, but find the time, find the energy to start investing in that gift, that talent that you have, and make it work for you. So it's bringing in something small in the beginning, and before you know it, you might well be able to do that other thing far more than you're doing what you're doing now. But we have to believe that it's possible, right? Because all of us have a gift. All of us have a gift, and you have to find that gift. You have to identify that gift, and then you have to start using that gift, Christmas just went, right? And nothing sucks more than you having gifts that are useless for you, right? That's where the regifting come from. The beauty of it is when you have a gift that you can use, and you use that gift like never before, and the person who gave you was like, you have on a blouse again? It's like, yes, it's my new favorite blouse, right? And so you want to be able to use your gifts. That's what gifts are for, to be used, but not only to be used by you, right? This is what I also found. I love to read John Maxwell. He's one of my favorite leadership coaches. And he talks about survival, he talks about success, and he talks about significance. And survival is the stage where a lot of us find ourselves, right? We're just barely making ends meet. We're living from paycheck to paycheck. And this is where we are. When we start walking and living in our gifts, we can move from survival to success. And success allows you to breathe a little more, right? You're not living from paycheck to paycheck anymore. You're not barely making it. You are succeeding. You're at a different level. But where you really want to ascend to is significance. And what is significance? There's a difference between success and significance. Success is when I add value to myself. Significance is when you add value to others. So there's a lot of leaders, and most leaders should be aspiring to this, to try and change the world, to try and do better for humanity. And the only way you can do that is if you are doing better for yourself. There's a lot of us that want to give back to the community. There's a lot of us that want to help others, but we're not in a position to help others. And so the secret is for you to become successful so that you can actually make a difference in the world. So it's not just for you. Your gift is not just making room for you. It's also helping others when you are able to add significance by being able to thank you for that, right? By being able to do that. And so, you're right there with me, Tashira, because the next slide says that our problem is not that we aim too high and miss, but that we aim too low and hit. Let that settle in right there. It's not that we aim too high and miss, but that we aim too low and hit. How many of you, like myself, for a long time, was satisfied with settling for just? because we did not set our aims high. We felt that we could not accomplish these things. I remember going to a GLS conference, right? Because I believe in pumping into, it's your mindset. It's changing your mindset. And so I eat up all of these leadership conferences and these concepts. And I remember being at that GLS one year, and I was like praying. They had a prayer, something, and I was like, my prayer that I wrote down was that I would be able to own my own business. And what was powerful for me was that the next year when I attended the GLS, the Global Leadership Summit, I attended as a business owner and not as an employee. 1 year, in a span of 1 year. Of course, those of you who know my story know that somebody had a hand in fast tracking my life as a business owner when they fired me. But the whole idea was that we don't set our aims high. We don't believe in ourselves enough. And I want to re-emphasize that thought that you have to believe in yourself, right? You want other people to believe in you, start believing in yourself. And when you talk about the things that you are going to do, when you start talking about the things that you will accomplish, talk about them with passion. Well, I'm gonna try see if I could have maybe do at least something. No, I am going to. I will. One of the most powerful concepts for me was, and that's why, guys, I encourage you to get the exposure. Get the exposure. Talk to people beyond your limits, right? Beyond the borders of our country, even. And I had a mentor who lives in the US. She's a Belizean American, lived in the US all her life. And she said something. She said, there is enough out there for all of us. There is enough out there. But we're not putting ourselves out there to find out what's out there. And when I started to work for myself, I realized the limitations I was placing on myself, just relying on that paycheck alone and feeling that that was all that I was capable of. I was putting some huge limitations on myself. And the reality that you don't know what's out there until you get out there and start putting yourself out there. You will look at your product and say, nobody want to buy this. Why do you go in there with a negative mindset? You have to tell yourself, this is the best thing since sliced bread and everybody will want it. And the reason why they want it, the A, B, C, D. And you convince yourself that you have a great product to sell or to market or a skill, whatever that people will buy. And you would be surprised what that attracts to you. So we have to stop putting our aim low and we have to put our aims high. Because if we don't do that, we will never reach our goal of success. So what is your aim? Don't put a limit to yourself. Don't put a limit to yourself. In a recent session with some entrepreneurs, I asked them to pretend that the headlines in the Amandala in the next 10 years was about them and their business, and that they had succeeded in what they set out to do. And I wanted them to write that headlines for themselves. There was one young fellow, right, from Belmopan, and he wrote, the next, I think his name was, let's say his name was VJ. VJ becomes the next Belizean millionaire or something. He was like way up yonder. He was like, this is where I see myself in 10 years. And the others might look at it and say, that's unrealistic. But best you set your aim high and miss, rather than set your aim low and catch it and feel like you have achieved something. It's not, that's not what it is. That's not what it is all about, right? So set your aims high. Set your aims high. The next thing that we really want to be working on is our mindset. We want to move from a fixed mindset to a growth mindset. A fixed mindset says, nothing good ever happened for me. Some people have all the luck, not me. They were born with gold spoon in their mouth, not me. No, the odds are against me. I will never. No, that's a fixed mindset and it's a defeat mindset. A growth mindset says something good is going to happen today. I'm going to keep trying because I am able to, I am capable of. A growth mindset says, yes, the odds are stacked against me, but I'm going to be so damn impossibly good in the field that I enter that they will have no choice. Even if it's rigged, they will be convinced beyond convinced that I am the person for that opportunity because I have done so much. I've invested so much in myself. I have proven my worth that undeniable. If they want to give somebody else, they will have to create another position because that position has my name written all over it because I can beat the odds. And this is the kind of mindset that we have to have if we are going to survive. Because the truth is, the system is rigged sometimes, right? It is, but you cannot allow that to bring you down. You have to say, okay, well, if the system is rigged, I have to make sure that I am the damn best at what I do because I am up against some serious challenges. And so we have to develop that growth mindset. I like to tell people every single day I get up, I say, something good is going to happen today. Something good is going to happen today. And some days nothing happened. Some days I crawl right back in bed in the fetal position and nothing happened. But the next day I get up, I say the same thing. Something good is going to happen today. So it's really what you tell yourself. And you have to develop that growth mindset. Because when I step out there, nobody will know if I only have $1 in my bank account. Because I am going to step out there and I'm going to smile and I'm going to look like I have it all together. The world is working for me because I have a growth mindset and I know it's not limited by where I am right now. I know that there are things out there that they're just waiting for me to pursue them. And so you want to change that negative mindset. You want to apply for those positions. You want to apply for that contract. You want to put yourself out there. You want to market your product. You want to be able to do that because you have a growth mindset and you don't want to be in a position where you're defeating yourself even before you enter the race. So how are we going to do this? 3 things. 1, you're going to get started. You're going to get started. You're going to get up like those 4 lepers and you're going to say, I'm not going to sit here until I die. I'm going to be one of those 3 people. And of those 3 people, I'm going to be people who make things happen. I'm not going to sit here and wonder what happened or watch things happen anymore. I want to be somebody who make things happen because there are only 3 types of people in this world. Which one are you determined to be? Somebody who make things happen, watch things happen, or wonder what the hell just happened? The second thing you're going to do is to put your gifts to work. Now, the reason why we start with our gifts, even if you branch off, is that this is easier. If it's your gift, it's going to come naturally. There are some, when I started doing training, there were some trainings that people would ask for, and I would say, okay, I'm going to do it. And I did it, and I did it well, but it bust the hell out of me because the time I took to prepare and plan for that, it really took a lot out of me. There are other topics that are my sweet spot. You ask me to do that, I could wake up and just do it because that's my sweet spot. Those are the areas where I am talented in, I'm gifted in, I know my stuff. And so when you know your stuff, it just comes naturally. And so you're not frustrated, you're not easily, set back. You're just smooth. You're in your comfort zone. So what is that gift? put it to work and start putting it to work for you. And then the third thing is that you are going to be the change that you want to see. Be the change you want to see in the world. Don't sit back and wait for others to make those changes for you. You want to be that change because that is a part of your plan and your purpose on this life. To reach down and help others out of the rut that you once found yourself in, because nobody knows more than you what it feels like to be in that situation. So you change your circumstances and then you reach down and you help others to also change their circumstances. And basically, those are some of the things that will help you as you continue to pursue your goals. Now, for the next few minutes that we have together, I want to talk a little about trying to achieve those goals that you set out for yourself. And I find that for a lot of us, we're trying to do too much things. We're trying to do too much things. And we have to stop. We have to stop and ask ourselves, what is that one thing that I can master? And that becomes my area of concentration. That becomes my priority. That becomes my focus. And I'm going to put all of my energies into that. I'm going to become so focused, right? I'm not looking to the left nor I'm not looking to the right. This is my priority. I'm going to start it and I'm going to finish it. There are 3 principles that I discovered that I share in my time management and goal setting. And I want to share those principles with you because I found them so profound. So we're going to look at the first 3 minutes of this video because a part of achieving your goal requires that you be productive. Don't listen to people who tell you when you work for yourself, you have it smooth. When you work for yourself, you work 7 days a week, you work long hours. It's not an 8 to 5. And so you have to learn the discipline. You have to learn the discipline, but the reward is tremendous. So let's look at these 3 principles that I identified that I find that are very helpful and that I use them on a very regular basis. And then we're going to look a little at our vision board.
Hi, it's Robin Sharma, author of The Leader Who Had No Title, founder of the Titan Academy, and welcome to this mastery session. This mastery session is all about a method to times 100, to increase by a factor of 100 your productivity. And we live in a world right now where productivity, and in particular what I call exponential productivity, has never been so important. Here's a brain tattoo for you to consider. An addiction to distraction will be the death of your creative production. Here's another brain tattoo for you to consider. We live in a world where focus is more valuable than even your intelligence. I mean, if you watch most performers today, you watch most people in business today, you watch most people in your community today, and they are walking while checking their social feeds. You know, they are addicted to the entertainment of video games. They are spending the best hours of their day.
All right, did you get those 2 brain tattoos? Focus is more valuable than intelligence. Focus is more valuable than intelligence. And an addiction to distraction will be the death of your creativity. An addiction to distraction will be the death of your creativity.
Watching dancing cats on YouTube. I mean, it is incredible right now how consumed people are with their tiny white screens. And yet if you look at the A players, if you look at many of the most creative and productive people on the planet, they are doing and working in such vastly different ways. Because if you want to achieve the results only 5% achieve, you've got to think and produce and behave like only 5% of the people on the planet. And the best people on the planet in terms of creativity and productivity are not spending their finest hours addicted to distraction. They are doing work that matters. They're not doing fake work, they're doing real work. And so in this mastery session, I want to walk you through a number of protocols that will really help you multiply your productivity in the finest of ways. And I'm going to get right into the first one, which is the 90-90-1 rule. Now, I've become pretty well known for this. I've taught it to a lot of people who attend my annual event, the Titan Summit, and they've used this one tool alone to create vast amounts of productivity that have scaled their businesses, scaled their impact on the world, and created world-class lifestyles. So I really invite you to pay even more attention to the 90-9-1 rule. And what's that all about? It's pretty simple, like any great rule. For the next 90 days, spend the first 90 minutes of your workday on your single most important opportunity to move the needle in your industry. And I'll repeat that again with great respect because it's so important, I believe, to your productivity. The 90-90-1 rule is simply for the next 90 days, spend the first 90 minutes of your workday on your single most game-changing opportunity. Because what happens? A lot of us get to work and we spend our best hours on our least important activities. We get to work and we start checking our social feed. We get to work and we check our text. We get to work and we chit-chat at the water cooler about the latest TV show that we watched last night. And research has shown that the morning hours are when you have the most focus, when you have the most energy, and when you have the most willpower. And so you want to use that first 90 minutes, that is game time, that's show time. The second piece of technology to create exponential productivity is what I call tight bubbles of total focus. Your environment is so important. And if you look at B performers or C producers, they really don't pay a lot of attention to their environment. And so they get very distracted. There's lots of noises, their phones are going off, maybe there's news in the background, maybe there's messy environments all around them, maybe there's toxic people. What I'm suggesting to you as the second piece of technology to really 100 times your productivity is this. Install environments of tight bubbles of total focus. The way I run my work life on certain days, I am very hard to reach. And I challenge you with great love and respect, be very hard to reach during key times of your week. I mean, I see a lot of people, and it's not judging them, it's just observing them. Every time their phone rings, they check it. Or they have, these loud notifications. So they're constantly being distracted. And we know what the research says. The research says we spend 2.1 hours a day in distraction. And it takes 21 minutes to refocus your focus after you.
All right. 1991 rule. It works. It works. And so my challenge to you for the next 90 days, spend 90 minutes or more on that one thing that is your gift that you want to pursue, that you're planning to pursue. Take 90 minutes. If it means you have to wake up earlier, if it means you have to reschedule your priorities, do that. But 90 minutes for the next 90 days, and let me know how far you've accomplished. And then the tight bubble of total focus, no distraction, no distraction. If you are able to do that, you will see progress in the things that you set out to achieve. The third one that I didn't share was the people you surround yourself with, right? Surround yourself with people who think like you, who are pursuing their dreams, who are trying to accomplish something. Surround yourself with people who are thinkers, who are doers, who are positive. Don't surround yourself. It means that for some of us, we have to start choosing our friends a little differently if we are going to achieve the things that we want to achieve in this life, that we were called to achieve really, right, in this life. We simply must be able to do that, all right? So the next thing we want to do in the next few minutes we have together is start looking at our goals. Looking at our goals, and we won't have time for you to sit down here and craft those goals. But one of the most powerful questions that I ask a lot of people and they're not able to answer it is, where do you see yourself in 5 years? And I want you to write down this question. And I want you to answer this question for yourself. Where do I see myself in the next 5 years? Because this is where goals begin. And after you've determined where you see yourself in the next 5 years, I need for you to start asking yourself, how am I going to get there? How am I going to get there? And so, in addition to that big vision for yourself in 5 years, what I want you to write down is your short-term goal, your medium-term goal, and then your long-term goal. And I want you to make an effort to work on all three of those areas. Your short-term goal is anything between 0 to a year. I keep it between 0 to 6 months. Your medium term is 1 to 3 years, 2, 3 years. I would even say 2 years. Some people 3. And your long term is that within 5 years that you're trying to accomplish. Now, the beautiful thing about breaking down your goals into short, medium, and long term is that the short term goals will give you that drive to achieve those other goals, right? When you see that you're actually accomplishing things along the way. Because one of the trouble with our goals is that sometimes they seem like they're too far. You want to bring them closer within reach. And another way of bringing them closer within reach is by answering these questions. So, on a piece of paper, you set out to list your goals. Let's start with your short-term goals. What are those? What are my goals? What is it that I want to accomplish in the next 6 months or within this year, 2023? How am I going to accomplish them? Meaning, what are those activities that I'm going to do in order to accomplish this goal? And then by when? And this is what we don't do sometimes. We don't put time limits to what we want to accomplish, right? Let's use a popular one that a lot of us would probably have. I want to save $5,000 this year, for argument's sake. Okay, that is my goal, to save $5,000 this year. How am I going to do this? Okay, I'm going to cut down on my utilities. I'm going to, whatever it is that you're going to do. And then when, right? And so by the end of this month, by so and so, and you have to keep yourself on track because it's all about accountability. Now, when we look at our goal, what really works is the concept of a vision board. And your vision board is personal. It's what you want to put on it. And the idea about your vision board is that it's somewhere where you actually write, and the principle of manifestation. You're manifesting the things that you want to attract into your life, right? Hand in hand with my vision board is also prayer, because I believe in the power of prayer. But what I like about the vision board is that it's something that you can place somewhere where you can see. And so those things that you want to accomplish this year, those things that you set out to accomplish, right? My time management students will say, Miss, you have not made any inroad on your vision board, right? But I started my vision board, and the hardest part I have not completed as yet, and that is to add the pictures to my vision board, right? To my credit, I've been really tied up, but I've made a commitment to set some time aside to finish my vision board. Your vision board does not have to be this big, but it has to be something that you can see. And when you're done with it, find a place where you can put it, where you can see it every single day. And you have to keep your vision in mind. That's the goal of doing your vision. So I just had this so that I can share with you an example for those of you who would want to do it. And I really do encourage you to do it, right? So the first thing I usually start off with here is putting a quote that I like, a Bible verse that I like. But you can put a quote. It doesn't have to be a Bible verse. You can put a quote that you would like. And for me, this was one of my favorite quotes. The other thing you want to do is to identify those 4 or 5 areas in your life that you're working on for this year. 4 or 5 of those things that you want to accomplish. And so for me, I know that I need more peace. in order to accomplish the things I want to accomplish, because I get upset a little easier than I should. And so peace for me is very key when it comes to dealing with my kids. And you can call this anything. I call it peace because that's what I get when I don't have to be talking all the time. Right. And so peace was important for me. Success, especially in my area of work, etc. Whatever I set out to do, I wanted to succeed. And so I want to be able to put pictures of what I think success looks like for me. And so under here, I would put what success looks like. Under peace, I'm going to place pictures of what peace looks like. When this happens, what is it that I'm going to be seeing here? I also put love here because I need to be working on this area as well when it comes to the love that I manifest. And I connected love with relationships. And so I know that if I want to do this, I have to, work on my relationships with my God, with my family, and with my significant other. I have to be able to do that. All right. And then another area of priority for me, was also my health and wellness, which was key because if I'm going to be able to do all of this, I have to be mentally, spiritually, physically well as well, right? And then there were some other little areas that I put here as well, saving and investing. So you have to decide for yourself, what are those areas for you? And then you create a map, a vision of what that looks like. And then you include pictures. And then you're going to manifest this because I'm going to stick this on my bedroom. I already found a space in my bedroom on the wall where I have a picture frame and I'm going to place it there. And every single day, it means I have to be working on these areas. If I say that relationships are important to me, it means I have to be spending more time with my kids. I have to be working on my relationship with God and my spouse as well. I have to be working on this. If I say that my health and wellness is important and I want to manifest this, it means I have to change the way I eat. And so pictures here will help me to dictate this. And now these don't have to be the only things I'm working on for the year, but it means that at the end of the year, when I look at this, right, because I'm looking at it daily, I should be able to accomplish some of these things. And so the whole idea about the vision boarding is that you're attracting and you're manifesting, but you're also keeping your vision in mind. You're putting it there because the challenge that we find is that for us, most of us, we would write that vision in a notebook. How often do we go back to those pages, right? Maybe when the book was new, you put it on the front page, but now you're at the back and you want it there. You want to be manifesting it every day and you want to be praying over these things, right? And not only that, those 90-91 or that tight bubble of focus, you want to be focusing on these areas that you said you're going to do for yourself. And so I really want to encourage you, if you've not done one before, do a vision board. Visualize what it is you want. If you don't get as far as doing the vision board, at least write down those things that you are sincere about working on this year. Put it somewhere where you know you will see it and definitely go towards doing it, right? Don't have your focus scattered all over the place. Things might change as you go along and that's fine, but you want to have a vision for what those areas will look like. And then you want to have a plan and daily, this is what I'm going to do. Last week Sunday in the afternoon I went for a walk because I was feeling a little bloated, and the amount of families I saw out I live in Belmopan on the greens, walking through, people walking their dog, and I'm like, okay, I said one of my focus was family. Instead of spending time sleeping Sunday afternoon, now it means that Sunday afternoon I have to be able to take my family and go do something because that was the area, right? I even saw a guy, he was walking with his spouse and his 3 kids, and he stopped and he popped flowers from a nearby tree for all of them. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is so sweet, right? But it really made me realize that if we really want to do something, we're going to do it. If it's a priority for us, we're going to do it. And so your vision board put those priority in your face. It's like you said you're going to do this. And if you're somebody who wants to hold yourself accountable at the end of the year, you don't want to look at your board and say, oh my gosh, I didn't do any of these things. I didn't accomplish it. So don't set it so laudable that you're setting up yourself to fail. Set targets that you know you can meet if you consistently work on it daily. And that is really the clue, right? People who are able to accomplish things, they will tell you day by day by day by day, right? In Creole, we say one okra full basket. My Jamaicans friends say every mickle make a muckle. And I'm like, here, it's a teeth it. But the idea is that every day you work on the things that you want to accomplish, and you would be surprised, but you have to keep it in mind. You have to keep it in vision. And that is the goal behind your vision board. All right, guys, that's all I had to share with you today. I really want to thank you for your participation. And as I had said when we began, can you send me a WhatsApp or an email and just say, you know, for the past 3 sessions listening, because I shared the recording with you, this is the one thing that I'm committed to doing. This is the one thing that really made a difference for me, so that I know that there has been some impact, some transfer of information that really stood out to you. All of our realities would be different, but one of the things I always think is that there must be at least one thing that we can take away, that we can share. Sometimes the information we get is not even for ourselves, but it's for somebody that's going through a particular situation, that we can speak into that situation for them based on something that we saw or something that we heard. And so that is my encouragement to you, right? It's a new year. We need to stay focused. We need to get motivated, and we need to be our best us. You do not want the year to finish and you are back and like, yeah, this was just not the year. I think we've wasted enough time. That's how I feel sometimes. And my goal is I'm not wasting another day. One of the questions that I want to leave you with, and it's a very profound question. If today was your last day on earth, would you be satisfied with the way you spent that day? If today was your last day, would you be satisfied with the way you spent that day? And that's a question that we have to ask ourselves every single day. Would I be satisfied with the way that I spent that day? I leave you with that thought, and I really want to thank you for your time. I will be sharing the recording and the other resources with you. Feel free to share them as you feel with anybody that would like to, you think could benefit from them, but could not attend the session due to their work schedule or other priorities. Again, thank you so much for your time. It's always a pleasure. No problem at all, Miss Letty. Thank you so much. I'm going to be sharing the recording, all 3. What I'm going to do for those who just joined, if I don't have your email address, please let me drop my number in the chat again, or if the person who invited you can share the number with you, let me just drop it in the chat here. It's 670-9564. If I don't have your email address and you would like to have the recording, please send me a message and I'll be happy to add you to the mailing list. Throughout the year, I'm also going to be continue to share with you things that I find as I go along, things that work for me, things that I find empowering. I am going to be sharing them with you via email. I didn't create a WhatsApp chat group because I know, like me, you're in a whole lot of them. And so I really want to just send them by email, and feel free to share as you go along with others. All right. And one of the best ways to empower yourself is to go find those positive things. I shouldn't see you wasting time on Facebook and TikTok and watching at dancing cats, right? Find those tight bubbles of focus. Enjoy your day, everybody. It's my pleasure. Appreciate the feedback. Thank you so much, Ms. Verlene, and the others as well. Thank you so much. All right. Have a great rest of the day, everyone. God bless. Bye-bye.